So I just paused all 4 games that is currently happening around MLS, and all 4 of those games is currently at halftime. And the reason why I decided to pause all 4 of those games is because there was no way I can finish this review in time and in 15 minutes before all 4 of those games is going to start in the second half. So once I finish this review, I'll basically unpause it and pretty much put to the point when the second half of each of those 4 games that is going to happen. And actually, technically, there's a 5th game that is going on right now. The Colorado versus Austin FC game is about to start, so I also kind of had to pause that game to, well, actually, I'm not actually planning to watch that one because, it's pretty much impossible for me to keep up 5 games at the same time, and always says that 4 games is kind of the maximum in terms of me keeping eye on all those games, but I will make sure I do watch the highlights of that Rapids versus Austin game and also watch the highlights of the Timbers versus Houston game later tonight, because later tonight I will be doing a Sports Hop series and I will be doing some ground hop. But that being said, let us actually begin the first game of this busy Saturday afternoon action, and all 5 of these games, by the way, are going to be games that take place in the afternoon and pretty much our all-day game. And we start off with NYCFC versus FC Cincinnati. And if you're a Cincinnati fan, this was definitely a rude awakening and a harsh reality that this team definitely still have not shown that progress that a lot of Cincy fans hope for. I mean, after that last game against Nashville where they were able to get a 2-2 draw, a lot of Cincinnati fans kind of had some optimistic that things were going to be different. Yeah, after this resort, it seems like they're still stuck in that 2019 and 2020 season mode where this is a Cincinnati team that is still the laughingstock in the league. Although I will say that, they didn't really start out this game badly, even though just 6 minutes into this game, Jesus Medina would give NYCFC a 1-0 lead, and that was just bad set-piece defending from Cincinnati. They didn't clear the ball and allowed the ball to be pin into, or the ball kind of dribble into the box, and when you don't clear the ball away, somebody is going to put that one into the back end net, which Medina was able to do. But after that, I thought Cincinnati had a lot of possession early, even though on the possession chart, I was kind of surprised that NYCFC was leading that chart, because I swear Cincinnati had a lot of possession and they were kind of controlling the game. Cruz had a chance to get the equalizer, but he could not get the shot off after a WTF turnover from NYCFC. Ben Johnson would deny Calvin Harris. No, not the DJ producer, but the attacking midfielder for FC Cincinnati. And Johnson would actually do the same thing just 3 minutes later, denying Calvin Harris. But this time, Harris did try to go for a long-range effort, but Sean Johnson was able to deny him as we head to halftime with a 1-0 lead in favor of NYCFC. And again, Cincinnati, they play well in the first half. They were a little bit unlucky to not get the equalizer, and you're thinking maybe if they can continue to look like that, eventually they're going to get the equalizer, right? Well, no, because in the second half, this is when the floodgates open for NYCFC, and this is when Cincinnati looked like that 2019 team, which not only won the wooden spoon but gave up 75 goals that season. First, it was Cody Cropper able to rob Medina of a second goal, but that was really a warning shot from NYCFC, because not only the fact that they were pushing for the second, they would get that second goal in the 52nd minute. And it's actually Nick Hagelin that unfortunately scored the own goal. Originally, they said it was Chanel, the one that scored the goal, because it looked like he headed that one in from the corner. But then later, they changed it to Hagelin, because it seems like Hagelin did kind of get a touch off of that. And, it's very unfortunate for him to basically head it in to his own net. Then just 3 minutes later, it would be 3-0 in favor of NYCFC, as Forensen would score his first ever goal in his MLS career after a beautiful free kick goal. Then 12 minutes later, Hagelin unfortunately scored another own goal, and somewhere out there, I think people are going to make fun of FC Cincinnati and said, now they have score right about the same amount of own goal that they actually score so for this season, and Hagelin pretty much is the leading own goal scored for this team. But yeah, that would make it 4-0 in favor of NYCFC. Then Johnson had an incredible double save, robbing Bernier and Patterson there. I thought Bernier in this game was relatively quiet, but that's due to the fact that FC Cincinnati just could not able to get anything going for. And also, it's worth noting that Lucho Acosta was not playing or not in the starting 11 for FC Cincinnati, so maybe that has something to do with it. But then 4 minutes later, Cropper would deny Medina of what would have been the 5th goal for NYCFC, but Medina would find the back of the net just 9 minutes later as he scored for Maxime Morales to make it 5-0 in favor of NYCFC. NYCFC continued to push late on. There was a couple more chances that they could have made it number 6 and would have broke their team record in terms of the most goal that they have scored in a single game. But in the end, they were able to find that 6, but still end up winning 5-0 against FC Cincinnati. Shots in this game, 22 shots compared to 12 that Cincinnati has, 10 shots on goal compared to 5 that Cincinnati has, 7 shots off target compared to 3 that Cincinnati has, 5 shots that was blocked compared to 4 that FC Cincinnati has, and possession-wise, 53% possession compared to 47% possession that Cincinnati has. And I know this is just Cincinnati, but if you're an NYCFC fan, you're probably very encouraging. The fact that the team is actually scoring goals, and that, I talk about how this is supposed to be one of the weakness of this team, and if they can be like what they did in this game against Cincinnati and able to show that attacking threat, they could definitely be a team that could be like last season of making the playoffs again. But for FC Cincinnati, you better hope that this is just maybe a one-off, or maybe there's not going to be like a regular occasion that this team look absolutely terrible, especially in the second half. Because if this is kind of a regular occasion, then I have a feeling somebody's going to get fired in that FC Cincinnati front office, and I might even say maybe Yapston could potentially have his job in jeopardy if these are going to be continue to be the resort that is, because this is supposed to be the season where this team is supposed to look respectful, and this is kind of a resort that does not actually show that this team could actually make some progress and actually look like a respectful MLS team. But moving on, in terms of the next match, is Nashville and Montreal. So for Nashville, they did it again. They were 2-0 down in this game, came back to make it 2-2, but for the second week in a row, Nashville fans will feel like they should have won this game, and they had a lot of chances late in this game to not only come back from 2-0 down, but also come from behind to win 3-2 in this game. In the first half, 74 seconds into this game, Piet actually got a yellow card. So, I want to note that one because, LGP, he still currently has the fastest yellow card so far this season, with, I think, only 25 seconds into that game between Inter Miami and the Galaxy, and LGP basically gets a yellow card. This time, Piet, it wasn't as fast as what LGP got his yellow card, but still relatively fast, where you see the first yellow card that was handed out in a game. Then 4 minutes into this game, Willis was able to deny Mason Toye, as Montreal, they were kind of off to a lively start in this game, and their lively start would be rewarded in the 13th minute when Mason Toye would score from Kyoto, and that goal that Mason Toye scored looked completely like a carbon copy of the goal that he scored against Toronto, like the one that he just kind of bent that one to the top right of the corner. Definitely one that I think once again is going to get consideration of goal of the week. And also, I think from now on, anytime when Mason Toye score for Montreal, I'll just say thank you, Minnesota, because we pay you $600,000 to get him, and it seems like that money is starting to finally paid off. Now, Cadiz did have a chance in the 37th minute to give Nashville one back, but he just puts it over the bar after he's trying to poke that one in from short range. Then Broguillons would score his first ever MLS goal, and this was kind of unfortunate for Nashville because, as Broguillons was striking this one, this actually came off of Romney, but it was just one of those goals when it came off a defender. It takes a wicked deflection that somehow actually hits the post and then goes back into the back of the net. And just like that, Montreal was up 2-0 in this game, and you're thinking, is this going to happen again where Montreal is going to shock everybody by getting a massive 3 points against a Nashville team that do not lose at home very often? Now, in the second half, Kyoto had a chance to make it 3-0 as he went through on goal, but unfortunately he missed one. Nashville did eventually get one back in the 56th minute when Cadiz was able to score from Randall Leal to make it 2-1 in this game. Then Cadiz had a chance to make it 2-2, but unfortunately he missed a header high as Nashville was really starting to push for the equalizer. There was a shout for a handball in the box, but it was not given for, or a handball in the box that Nashville was thinking it was a penalty for them, but unfortunately it wasn't given. Before Villas was able to deny Mihajlovic, as Montreal, knowing the fact that it's only 2-1, they know that they're gonna have to eventually kill this game off, because Nashville, I just had a feeling that they were not going to just lie down and just going to continue to push for the equalizer, and eventually they do get it. In the 77th minute, it's Mukhtar scoring for Sapon and Johnston to tie the game up at 2 apiece. Then, just 1 minute later, Diop absolutely robbed Leal from long range. I mean, Randall Leal hit that one sweetly, but Clement Diop with a full stretch save to deny him there. Then, just a couple of minutes later on two sequence of play, Romney and Mule both hit the post on a header. Nashville was really pushing for the winner, but ultimately Montreal was able to hang on with a 2-2 draw in this game. As the shots in this one, 18 shots compared to 9 that Montreal has, 8 shots on goal compared to 4 that Montreal has, 6 shots off target compared to 3 that Montreal has, 6 shots that was blocked compared to 2 that Montreal has, and possession-wise, 57% possession compared to 43% possession that Montreal has in this game. And overall, I think Montreal probably is going to be the more happier side, even though they did blow a 2-0 lead in this game, because again, Nashville was really pushing late in this one. And for Nashville, this is the second week in a row where, you got to be frustrated the fact that, this team first went down 2-0 early and find themselves in a hole. And even though they did eventually fight back from going down 2-0 early, the numerous chances that they had in this game, and they only were able to take advantage of 2 of them, has to be very frustrated if you're a Nashville fan. And it's also another game where they drop points against a team that they probably should get all 3 points. And we'll see whether or not if these drop points is going to come back to haunt Nashville later in the year, when I really think this is a team that is going to be kind of on the bubble in terms of making the playoffs and not making the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. But now moving on in terms of the next match, and actually I'm going to move to this match because I'll talk about this one between LAFC versus Seattle next, and I have pretty much almost 1/3 of the board dedicated to this game because this was a national televised game. But moving on is another game that also ended 2-2 between Toronto versus the Vancouver Whitecaps. And early on in the 7th minute, Toronto was able to get a 1-0 lead, and it's actually Luke Singh scoring his first ever career MLS goal. And so far today, we saw a couple of players that were able to grab their first ever career goal, and Luke Singh was one of them. And, I also wrote poor set piece defending for Vancouver, because just like what I said with FC Cincinnati in their game against NYCFC, where if you let the ball kind of dribble in the box and kind of dangling in the box for a little while and not able to clear that one away, somebody was going to eventually put it into the back of net, and it's Luke Singh, the one that was able to do so. And TFC were off to a good start with a 1-0 lead in this one. They did have a chance to make it 2-0 when De Leon struck one that's just wide in the 26th minute. But Whitecaps did have a chance to equalize in the 35th minute when Bono was able to deny Caicedo. There was a shout for a penalty for TFC right on the stroke of halftime after they think Rose brought down Larea in the box. As we head into the second half and at halftime with TFC leading 1-0, we do have a penalty that was given, but unfortunately for TFC, it's not going to be in their favor, and instead in the favor of Vancouver, after Larea, who thought earlier that he should have or he thought he earned his team a penalty late in the first half. He was the culprit in terms of this penalty given away to Vancouver after he bring down Cavallini in the box, which Tahome make no mistake in terms of buries that penalty. Then 15 minutes later, Vancouver would turn this game on its head when Andy Rose was able to score from Gutierrez to tie the game, or give the Whitecaps a 2-1 lead up to that point. And you're thinking, with how the momentum has really changed and the Whitecaps were able to get that second goal, and knowing the fact that, I forgot to wrote that this was actually a TFC 2 side, I just didn't think TFC was going to potentially get the equalizer, but they eventually did. It happened in the 83rd minute when Osorio was able to score to tie the game up at 2 apiece, and this was a calamity of error from the Vancouver back line. I think it was Rose that was trying to clear that one away, but it actually hit hits that clearance off the face of Bodismo, and when it actually ricocheted off the face of Bodismo, it actually fall kindly to Osorio, which Crepeau originally did make a decent save to deny Osorio, but unfortunately just triggered into the back of the net. And TFC were able to tie the game up at 2 apiece. They had a chance to make it 3-2 just 3 minutes later, but Crepeau denied Schaffelberg. And you know how I said earlier the momentum was with Vancouver after they went up 2-1? Well, all of a sudden, the momentum was with TFC, and it looked like they were more likely the ones to get that third goal. But then, in stoppage time, Bono absolutely robbed Ryan Raposo, who was going through on goal. And, you know, if you're a Whitecaps fan, you're thinking that was the moment where they're going to get that third and winning goal. But Bono with a big save to deny Raposo there. Then on the very next play, Vesinovic had a header that just went a little bit high from the corner. But in the end, it was a 2-2 draw between TFC and Vancouver in this all-Canadian affair. Shots in this one, 12 shots compared to 8 that the Whitecaps had, 5 shots on goal compared to 6 that the Whitecaps had, 5 shots off target compared to 1 that the Whitecaps had, 2 shots that was blocked compared to 1 that the Whitecaps had, and possession-wise, 53% possession compared to 47% possession that the Whitecaps had in this game. And if you're the Whitecaps, this has to be a very frustrating draw. I mean, I know they did get a point on the road, which anytime when the Whitecaps can get anything on the road, usually that's a good sign because they're not really considered the better road team in the league. But the way that they lost the 2-1 lead in this game, and the way that they gave that second goal away, or even the first goal that they gave away because of poor set piece defending, that's gonna keep Marc Dos Santos very frustrated, because those are the goals that was very preventable, and that the Whitecaps could have easily walked out of this against a short-handed TFC side, or shall I say a TFC2 side that I think they're going to be the more happier side, knowing the fact that they are short-handed and they're just trying to get as much points as possible once most of their starters does come back into this team. Now, moving on, in terms of the next match, is the game that I've just went a couple of hours ago, which is between the Quakes versus FC Dallas. And if you are a neutral watching this one on Twitter, despite the fact that you do have to deal with the annoying Twitter commentator, this turns out to be a very entertaining game. And in the end, you know, I was happy that the Quakes were able to bounce back against Dallas to win 3-1. And also, K-Cow seems to have his coming out party in this one. But in the first half, just 1 minute into the game, and in fact 20 seconds into the game, JT Marcinkowski was able to deny Obrian, and he actually made up for what could have been a goalkeeping howler that he committed, where he just gave the ball away to Obrian, but Obrian wasn't able to punish him there. Then just a minute later, Brisson, which struck the post on a header, and the Quakes, they just looked very shaky early on, and I was kind of concerning that, yeah, they're going to give up an early goal at home, are they? But eventually they did kind of settle down, and in the 7th minute, Jackson Yu had a free header that was clear off the line from Dallas before there was a penalty given to the Quakes after Obrian brought down Espinoza in the box, but Jimmy Mao was able to deny Espinoza from the spot there to keep this one at 0-0. But then just 10 minutes later, there was another penalty that was given to the Quakes, and originally this actually wasn't called a penalty. They actually had to go to VAR to see whether or not if I think it was Remedi kind of shot that hits the arms of Tanner Tessman, and that Remedi basically complained that was clearly a handball from Tanner Tessman. The referee go to VAR to see whether if that's the case, and indeed that was. Penalty was given to the Quakes, and this time it was Alanis, the one that took the penalty. And unlike how Espinoza missed the penalty kick earlier, Alanis makes no mistake. He is able to get the first goal for the Quakes, and the first one at home for the Quakes this season. Then Fierro, 3 minutes later, had a goal line clearance, or a goal-saving clearance off the line from Holland's headshot. Like, I thought for sure that was going to be 1-1 in the game, but Fierro just kind of came out of nowhere, able to save that one off the line. And we head to halftime with a 1-0 lead in favor of the Quakes. Second half, it would be 2-0 in favor of the Quakes, as Espinoza make up for his penalty kick miss earlier, as he scored from K-Cow. What a ball this was from K-Cow. Like, the fact that he basically split both Dallas defender and put a worldie of a pass to Espinoza to play him in on goal. That is something you usually do not see often in this league. But no, that is just a sublime kind of pass from K-Cow, and he wasn't done in terms of making the spectacular their attacking move, because in the 59th minute he would score he would score unassisted of what could be in contention for goal of the week and maybe even win goal of the week, where he decided to kind of do a Lionel Messi-esque kind of move, just turn a couple of FC Dallas defender before coolly slots it into the left side of the post. And just like that, the Quakes were up 3-0 in this game, and they looked like they were in complete control in this one. Now, also on the same play, Maurer unfortunately looked like he injured his finger, and he had to kind of come off in this one, and Dallas had to bring on Felipe, their backup goalkeeper, for the remaining of this game. In the 71st minute, it seemed like Almeida realized that there was chances that the Quakes could maybe even make it more uglier in this game, so he decided to bring in the cavalry by summoning Wando, Salinas, and Rios into this game. But unfortunately, Dallas did get one back rather than the Quakes potentially maybe make it 4 or 5-0 in this one. And it's Ricardo Pepi, the one that is able to get the consolation goal for Dallas. Always love to see Pepi gets on the board. He's definitely one of my favorite young player in the league. But yeah, that made it 3-1 in favor of the Quakes. And then late in the game, Wando unfortunately got a straight red after he basically did kind of like an ankle breaker challenge on Martinez. Now, originally, if you actually watch my vlog later on, which I will upload my match vlog a little bit later tonight, I didn't think that was a red card from Wando. I didn't think that there was really a lot into that one, but when I did see it on the replay, yeah, it seems like Wando did kind of put his studs into Martinez's knee. And, even though I know he didn't really do that intentionally, anytime when you put your knee on the studs of a player, you are basically asking of potentially getting a red card. And indeed, that, of course, was the case. But fortunately for the Quakes, that happened in the 89th minute, and by then it was pretty much too late for Dallas to capitalize. And in the end, the Quakes were able to win 3-1 in this game, as the shots in this one, 15 shots compared to 8 that Dallas had, 7 shots on goal compared to 4 that Dallas had, 5 shots off target compared to 3 that Dallas had, 3 shots that was blocked compared to 1 that Dallas had, and possession-wise, 54% possession compared to 46% possession that Dallas had in this game. But overall, very entertaining game, in a game where we pretty much saw everything. I mean, we saw red cards, we saw penalties, we also saw an amazing goal that was scored from K-Cow, and we even see a couple of youngsters getting on the score sheet in this game. I mean, if you're a neutral, you couldn't ask for a better game than the one that you just saw. But if you're a Dallas fan, this is definitely a game that's going to frustrate you and kind of remind you of how this team, just for whatever reason, when they play on the road, they always tend to look like one of the worst teams in the league when they're playing on the road, which is why I really think for Dallas, if they are going to make the playoffs this season, they better not start dropping more points at home just like they did last week against the Colorado Rapids. But now moving on into the last game on this board, which is the game of the week between LAFC versus Seattle. And while there was definitely a lot of goals that was scored in the first 4 games, this one, it didn't really provide as much goals as what we thought it would, but early on it looked like it was going to happen. There was no Diego Rossi, Carlos Vela, and Musfowski for LAFC, so LAFC was very short-handed going up forward. While for Seattle, there's still no Ladero in this game, despite the fact that we heard maybe the Sounders was going to have Ladero back in the starting 11, or at least come off the bench for the Sounders in this game against LAFC. But in the first half, and just 2 minutes into this game, Atuesta was able to score a wonderful free kick to give LAFC a 1-0 lead, and I really think this was a miscommunication between Stefan Fry and Nuhu, because it seemed like Nuhu was asking Fry that, should I actually lay down on the ground to near the wall to prevent the ball to actually strike it low, because this one, the one that Atuesta basically strike this free kick, he basically strike it low, that goes under the jumping wall and ends up into the back of the net. And we've seen nowadays with a lot of free kick, and especially the teams that is defending a free kick, we've seen that not only they are putting a wall, but they also putting a guy that is kind of laid down onto the ground to make sure if the ball is driven down low, it actually hits the player that was laying down on the ground. And it seemed like Nuhu was going to be that player, but Fry basically decided to say that he doesn't need to do that, and it turns out to be the wrong decision because Atuesta saw that situation and he capitalized it to give LAFC a 1-0 lead. Now, just 4 minutes later, Ciciaga was able to deny Ruidíaz as the Sounders really started to dominate possession and press for the equalizer after going down 1-0. Rodon unfortunately hit the post in the 25th minute. Before, it was kind of a stalemate between both of these teams where, as we head into the last 20 minutes of the first half, there wasn't really any golden opportunity to speak of between both of these teams, and we head to halftime with LAFC leading 1-0. Now in the second half, Marc-Anthony Kaye almost made it 2-0 when he just hits one a little bit wide of the right post before the Sounders did get the equalizer in the 54th minute, and in some way it was kind of coming, knowing the fact that the Sounders were really kind of dominating the possession and was controlling the game. And it's actually Brad Smith, who is another guy that scored his first ever goal in his MLS career. And this originally was a great save from Ciciaga to rob Ruidíaz, but unfortunately, on the follow-up, Smith was there in the right place at the right time to put that one away. And the game was all tied up at 1 apiece, and I was kind of worried for LAFC, knowing that the Sounders finally got that breakthrough goal that they've been looking for a very long time, that this could be a very one-sided affair where LAFC is going to have to try to absorb as much pressure as possible. But instead, that was not the case. LAFC, they weren't really backing down, and they were starting to also create some chances. Cifuentes hit it straight to Fry in the 65th minute before Fry had to frantically come off his lines after Arriaga was slow to react. I thought Arriaga had a very shaky game in this one. I mean, there was a couple of times where he just seems to be very slow to react and had some indecision at the back of whether he should play it back to Fry or maybe just kind of dribble it away. And fortunately for him at that point, Fry was able to just come off his line to smother that ball before one of the LAFC player was able to take advantage of that. Then in the 83rd minute, Ethan Doubler, who just came onto the pitch, gets a yellow card after fouling Morello with studs up. Now they did go to VAR to see whether or not if that was worthy of a red card because it was studs up, but at the end of the day, when I look at that, yeah, that was kind of unfortunate where, I feel like Doubler and Morello was going for the same board, and that's just kind of one of those instances where a defender unfortunately caught an attacker, or in this case a defender unfortunately caught a defender when both of them was going for the same ball there. And I think at the end of the day it was a right decision that it was only worthy of a yellow card instead of a straight red. Then Ruidíaz had a big opportunity in the 88th minute, and probably the best opportunity that he had in this game, because I thought he was relatively quiet in this game too, but he had a free header that just missed a little bit high before Palacio had the last chance of this game, as he just flashed one wide from a header in the first minutes of stoppage time. But in the end, it finished honors even between LAFC versus Seattle, and the shots in this one, 9 shots apiece for both of these teams, 4 shots on goal per the 3 that Seattle has, 3 shots off target per the 4 that Seattle has. Both teams had 2 shots that was blocked, and possession-wise, dead even at 50%. And overall, I think Seattle and LAFC will be happy with this result. For LAFC, they were very short-handed coming into this game, and to just able to get a point against a Sounders team, knowing what they did to Minnesota last week, I think they'll be happy to walk away with a point. And for the Sounders, they'll be happy walking away with a point on the road at LAFC, a place that it is very hard for opponent to get a point, and also themselves are a little bit short-handed coming into this game, knowing the fact that they still do not have Nicholas Ladero in the starting 11 for them. But yeah, there you have it. That is pretty much it for the review of the first 5 games that happened of the Saturday day action. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of all of these games? But yeah, hope you guys enjoy this video, and I, of course, will see you guys next time.